It's time to sit back and check out the RCWR show with Lee Sanders. Get fun, in-depth coverage and analysis from the latest in professional wrestling in AEW, WWE, NWA, Impact Wrestling, or the world of entertainment. From hit TV shows to your favorite sports like the NBA or NFL. All things music, movies, and beyond, while trying to make sense of this crazy world we live in. All while keeping it honest, insightful, and interactive since 2011. And now your hosts, live from the nation's capital of Washington, D.C., Lee Sanders.
Hey, good kind of people. What is going on? Covering the latest in wrestling, entertainment, and beyond since 2011. You, my pretty babies, are checking out an all-new The RCWR show. 401mania.com reporter and columnist Lee Sanders with you guys for this Monday night of January 30th, 2023. This is it. It is the final... Well, this day's pretty much in the books, right? We can pretty much, right? So we got one more day in the month of January, and that is it. My God, January. I don't know how it feels for you guys, but this month of this new year of 2023 has really gone by pretty quick. I gotta say, in the blink of an eye. God damn. I guess there's a lot of good things that's been going on. I don't know. I don't know how you want to look at that, but definitely time has gone by pretty quick for this first month in 2023. Hope you guys had a fantastic weekend. Mine's definitely pretty solid. Honestly, I caught up on a little bit of rest, caught up on some stuff around the house, even managed to get in a little bit of time in between to do some homework. I know we had the whole Royal Rumble pay-per-view on Sunday. By the way, shout out to those of you that have represented and you were hanging out with me for the live watch-along of the Royal Rumble. If you guys did not get a chance to watch that, it's definitely available. I promise there's no copyright issues. I saw to that. I had to make sure that this year's watch-along, we didn't have any issues. So looked like it went off without a hitch, no issues whatsoever. And then immediately after that, we did the Royal Rumble post show. So shout out to those of you that represented, had checked that out, whether you had joined me live or you represented and checked it out on demand and on the downloads. Definitely appreciate you guys representing and everything. Hey, we now know who is going to be in this year's Super Bowl. We've got Jalen Hurts and his Philadelphia Eagles going up against Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm looking forward to it. It's been interesting seeing the reactions to some of the people that were watching the Bengals Chiefs game because, and look, I do agree with the core audience of you guys that's going, man, it just sucks that the referees had to do that one call. I definitely feel where you guys are coming from. And it's interesting, isn't it? Because if you've been watching the NFL for a long time, usually when it comes playoff time, the referees do not like blowing the whistle unless they absolutely have to. If they absolutely have no other choice and they have to blow the whistle, then they're going to go on ahead and they're going to do it. And you just hate that in a game of such high magnitude for a whistle to be called, because the way it was looking right now, you would have thought for sure, okay, this looks like we're going to be going into overtime. And if there was any doubt, if there was any reservations whatsoever, any concerns about Patrick Mahomes and that ankle, you heard as they were going into that game against the Bengals how he decided, no, I don't want to get any shot whatsoever. Just tape it up for me. I'm going to go in here. I'm going to do my thing and let's just do it. But you did not think and expect that he was going to be as mobile as he was really in the second half. I really think you could say. And so for him to be as mobile when it counted the most, man. But you know what? That is going to be a matchup that we're going to see continue to go down for years to come between Patrick Mahomes and Joe Burrow. I mean, my God. Yo, Bengals, man. Bengals fans ain't got nothing to be ashamed of. They ain't got nothing to be embarrassed about. But this should be a damn good Super Bowl. I gotta say, I'm actually excited. I'm legit excited to be checking out this year's Super Bowl, especially for the commercials alone. You know me by now. When it comes to the commercials, that's what it's all about for me. Really, the meat and potatoes. I don't really care about the halftime shows within reason. I know Rihanna is supposed to perform the halftime show this year. You know, I kind of like her. I don't really mess with her music like that, but yeah, I'll represent. I'll represent for the sister. I'll definitely check it out, see what's up. Who knows what type of special guests might be coming through there and everything to help her out. Right? So I'll definitely check that out. But the commercials is where I'm at. Speaking of commercials, did you guys get a kick out of those new Rudolph M&M's commercials? I just... Look, true story. I don't know if you guys have actually tried going online to purchase a bag, but if you actually went on the M&M's website, they are already sold out of Rudolph's, y'all's M&M candies. And apparently, depending on where exactly you lived, some areas had actually got them on their shelves. So convenience store, Whole Food store, grocery store, some stores had actually got them in their shelf and on their shelves and now sold out. And you're just going, wait, what? And I was curious. I wanted to get an idea how much those things were going for. So I actually checked on eBay, whether it's a little small package, a little small box of M&Ms, or it is a freaking bag. I mean, these things are going anywhere from $50, and I've seen as high as $200, believe it or not. Now, some of you guys may say, Jesus Christ, that is absolutely insane, Lee. That is, well, when you've taken a national treasure, a piece of pop culture, candy, and M&Ms, and you've not only renamed it, but you've rebranded the candies themselves with Rudolph's face on them. When you've done all of this, yeah, there's going to be a whole bunch of people that's going to be, wait, what the hell's going on here, right? So it is just pure pandemonium that's going on right now. But yes, you heard me correctly. If you were to try to browse online right now to get your bag of Rudolph's candy there, her version of M&M's, essentially, look, make no mistake about it, this is a big deal because it's not M&M's for the time being. We still know it as M&M's. We still call it M&M's, but it's not M&M's for the time being. So there's no telling how long this experiment is going to last, what potential other celebrity might step into play next. But I tell you what, you might want to sign up for alerts, use a dummy email account that you check every so often, and set yourself up for notifications. That way, when the next wave of Maya's Candy or whoever else they decide they want to announce, you'll be on top of it and you'll be able to buy those bad boys with these. But the way it's looking right now, you can pretty much, if you're ready for Valentine's Day or whatever, you can buy the holiday themed candy, the traditional joints. It's still being called M&M's, but as far as the Rudolph candies, yeah, you can pretty much forget about that. Hey, yo, what did you guys think about tonight's WWE Raw? This was the night after the Royal Rumble, so 24 hours removed from the Rumble. Sound off. Let me know what you guys had thought about that. You can sound off on Twitter at the RCWR show. You can also sound off on YouTube by going over to the YouTube communities tab and vote that way. Your options are simple, folks. Thumbs up, thumbs down, and staying in the middle. that's your options for tonight. I'm actually peeking my head, looking at what's going on with the YouTube polls right now. Still early voting, and we can circle back to it in just a hot little bit. Matter of fact, let me look at what's going on via YouTube as well, just to see if I can get an idea where you guys' pulse is at right now. Because I literally just put those two polls up probably about 5 minutes ago before we went on the air here tonight. But we'll follow up on it later on. Yeah, it's still very, very early. So as you guys are trickling in, make sure you sound off, let your voices be heard and everything. So look, a lot of great development going down on this week's WWE Raw. I mean, and not just setting up some key main event WrestleMania matches or expanding upon some of our WrestleMania matches that we know is definitely okay. This has materialized. This is definitely going to happen. But we also got emphasis on the road to the Elimination Chamber, which is essentially the last pit stop before WrestleMania, where just about any and everything can happen, and you should expect for everything to happen on that road to WrestleMania. There's been some detours, if you will, on the way to WrestleMania these last handful of years with that pay-per-view before Mania and all that, right? Personally, I wish they would bring Roadblock back, but that's just me. That's just me. So, yeah, but some interesting developments, even some great developments going on with some matches that we were supposed to get from Raw 30 that did not happen, right down to even getting some love for the secondary titles and everything. Of course, I'm talking about the United States Championship. So a lot of great development was used right here on this week's Raw. Not to mention, we got a returning Cody Rhodes who saw in-ring action on Monday Night Raw for the first time since he had went out on injury and everything. By the way, what a great way for tonight's Raw to open up, as it opened up with Cody Rhodes. By the way, did you guys see by 2K the exclusive footage that they shared of Cody Rhodes' full entrance and all for the upcoming video game that's going to be dropping in March? I will definitely show the trailer for you guys on Wednesday. I was just doing a lot of multitasking, especially with some schoolwork, so I sadly didn't have enough time to get that rocking and rolling for you all. But that trailer for Cody, it looks pretty badass. I gotta say, I like the graphics. If I were to be a stickler for details, the one thing where I go, I wish they would have did this instead. And look, maybe it's in there as an alternate entrance, but I didn't like the fact that when Cody's entrance and all that pops up, remember, Cody usually comes from the ground, and he's got all this steam and stuff that's around him, all this fog, right? And instead, Cody just comes from basically the back. And it's like, no. I mean, they did the fireworks right, everything. As far as points of articulation goes and everything, they did everything right. It's just, I wish he would have pretty much, ascended from the bottom, like he normally does, rise from your grave. I wish he would have had that thing going on. But other than that, I thought it was pretty damn good. I need to see a lot more, just based off some of the stuff that I've seen so far about this upcoming 2K game. Looks pretty badass, I gotta say. Will I be checking it out? Yeah, I will definitely be checking it out. Sadly, I didn't have as much free time on my hands last year to really dive into the game, especially as far as the creator wrestler functions, all the options that's available as far as customization goes. Really wasn't able to dive deep into it like I wanted to, but for sure with this coming year's installment, I'll be able to dedicate a little bit more free time into checking it out for sure. But yeah, I liked how everything opened up with Cody Rhodes there in that great promo. Honestly, that's the way that you should do it. One of the last burning images that you have in your mind is the fact that, of course, Sami Zayn, Roman Reigns and everything, but before that, you're thinking about that men's Royal Rumble and Cody winning. And look, what better way to open up Monday Night Raw than with the guy that won the men's Royal Rumble and Cody Rhodes. and him out there talking about continuing the story, basically continuing the legacy, finishing the story that he had set out to do and everything. Now pretty much letting us know that, hey, he won this. His eyes is now set on Roman Reigns, a man that has dominated for 800 plus something days. And that, yeah, for Roman Reigns, he's got 62 days to prepare and everything. But for Cody Rhodes, this essentially feels like an eternity of what's going on right now, because it's 60 plus days and counting. So just, you know, the anticipation, right? The nerves, everything, okay? Because he has to wait just a little bit longer until he can have this match and basically get the job done, right? Succeed essentially where his father failed within the WWE/WWF, if you will, right? He's picking up that baton and, you know, carrying on and everything. So I love the tone that was pretty much set with Cody Rhodes pretty much taking first strike verbally at the tribal chief and the bloodline, also recognizing the fact that, hey, the Rhodes family is not the only royal family, you know, that's involved in wrestling. You've got this long line, this bloodline here, right? I love him giving that nod to that respected family and everything. Great, strong opener. I loved how, for those that maybe were new to Cody Rhodes, how Cody took the time out to reiterate where he's been, the different gimmicks that he's had. He pretty much mentioned everything, and if you were to be a stickler for detail, you would probably say, yeah, he probably did do the "I've been everywhere, man," right? But he didn't say those three magical letters. Okay, we know where he's been, but some would say he kind of danced around it. Others would say, yeah, he pretty much did a serious omission there. But we know where he's been. We know where he's trying to go and everything. Great opener, really. I mean, Cody, I gotta say, as far as just the promo stuff, I was already feeling him in AEW when it came to him being on the microphone. He really seemed to, yeah, does he still have that lisp? Yeah, but he's worked on it tremendously to his advantage. I mean, he's come a long way from, you know, where we first remember him and how he was starting off and everything. He's come a long way. You know, he is really this bona fide stud of a star now, right? It's just so surreal when you go back and you see how he started off and pretty much where he is now. Yeah, we always knew that the potential was there and everything, and which is some of the points that he brought up in his promo, as far as he was able to talk to a 19-year-old version of himself and everything. High marks. I mean, every single thing that you would want him to bring up after winning the Royal Rumble, I mean, he pretty much checked every single box. Who am I? I'm Cody Rhodes. I'm from the Dusty Rhodes family line. Oh, okay. And you know what's going on here? Well, I won the Royal Rumble, and leading up to winning the Royal Rumble, I was at this point in my career. I was at this point, and that point. I mean, he hit all the 5 W's. I mean, just every single one, all the check boxes, hit them off out of the park. Good shit. No complaints on that whatsoever. Just when we thought that was over and done with, though, we had Judgment Day crossing paths with Cody Rhodes, as they had issue, mainly Dominic, having issue with the fact that he was cheated by Cody Rhodes into winning the Royal Rumble, and as a result of everything that had transpired, as far as Dominic is concerned, well, Cody owes him Oh God, to see that segment play out for what it was worth, I'm going, oh my God, no, this young lad is not trying to go there. He is feeling a little bit too froggy. He ate a little bit more than his Wheaties today, thinking he's gonna be able to get in front of the face of the American Nightmare. Okay, but notice how he was talking his mad trash at the top of the stage ramp with Finn Balor and Damian Priest there. I loved how Cody Rhodes came right back and said to Dom, yo, are you trying to scare me straight? Is that what's going on here? And yeah, so Cody's obviously, he's playing around. He's pretty much letting you know at home he's not taking what Dominic is saying seriously, right down to the point. And I can't help but wonder now in retrospect, I can't help but wonder if this might have been a slight rip from the headlines, because Cody said something along the lines of, hey, Dom, look, I respect the hell out of your father. I could have sworn Cody even called Dom a kid. And when he was saying this in real time, I didn't overanalyze it, just immediately came to mind. You guys let me know if you were kind of getting the same vibe as well, or if you were thinking about it as well. But as Cody was doing this part of the segment, I couldn't help but think about that Nick Khan interview. And Nick Khan is being asked by, oh God, who was it? Nick Khan's being asked by Bill Simmons about Tony Khan and everything. And Nick Khan does everything but be totally blunt in letting you know that he does not think highly of Tony Khan, that he has no respect for him whatsoever. But the dad, on the other hand, a lot of respect for him. And the fact that he's a self-made man, billionaire or whatever. Right, I just couldn't help but get that same kind of, I don't know, maybe I'm alone on that one, but I was just looking at that going, damn, that feels like a rip from the headlines. I was liking it. Not complaining. I liked it for all it was worth. Pretty much setting up a challenge where Cody Rhodes put out there, look, hey, I got 60-something days to go until WrestleMania. I can easily play it safe and really don't do anything physical until my match with Roman, or I could kick one of y'all asses right here and now. So, hey, I say let's go for the latter. Which one of y'all is it going to be? Y'all decide. I'll see you guys later tonight. So that person would end up being Finn Balor that would accept the challenge. But wait. Just before this segment was over, we get a appearance there by Edge, who still has not forgotten about the long-lasting back and forth that's gone down between he and the former members of Judgment Day. They all were going at it. I'm trying to think if Beth Phoenix was not involved in that segment, but she would be involved later on and everything. But yeah, nice all-out brawl, everything really setting the tone. Stop and think about that for a second. Isn't that kind of sweet, poetic? What is it? I'm trying to think of the right word, but it's not coming to me right now. But how ironic, let's go with that for now. How ironic is it that you had Raw open up with Judgment Day, Cody Rhodes, Edge, and it ends with those same participants? WWE under the Triple H regime, you got to give them props where props is due. They've really done a fantastic job. And okay, this is what we're introducing to you guys. This is part of the reason why we want you to stick around. And as you stick around, you'll be rewarded. If you want to see how this story reaches its resolution. And look, as far as reaching a resolution, it doesn't always mean that it needs to be, okay, let's do this big grand finale, right? You can always just, okay, one thing leads to another. And I just love how the Triple H regime has really done a phenomenal job in building upon story arcs, the rivalries, going into a pay-per-view. Everything just makes total sense. I love it. I love what WWE has been doing here within the past several weeks. I remember one of the running gags that we used to have on this show was me bringing up the question, where is that incentive? Where is that carrot that is being dangled over the heads of the fans? Where's that extra incentive to, look, you got to watch this because, yeah, and also you got to stick around because, and they've done a really good job in doing that. You know, I saw some of the chatter that was going out there about the Royal Rumble this year. You had some people that felt, not me, but you had some people out there that felt this was one of the weakest Royal Rumbles that ever came into existence. That, you know, there weren't enough surprises and you couldn't help but look at some of these complaints and bring up the question, okay, are these complaints valid? Or, you know, it just goes to show you, as far as my concern, here's my take for those of you that might be curious. It just goes to show you that you can't please everybody, nor should you try to please everybody. Because what was the biggest complaint years prior? The biggest complaint years prior was, God damn it, I'm sick and tired of seeing all these goddamn legends. I'm tired of seeing all these people that are just going to be here for this one event. And meanwhile, these other wrestlers that we see on our television sets every single week, they're here pretty much, you know, damn near 300 days out of the year here, entertaining us, busting their asses and all. Like, I'm tired of seeing these legends. Oh, these people are just taking up spots that this other wrestler that I really dig could have been part of, or this easily could have gone to this match instead of this legend, or this person's showing up and all that, right? So, and then the other thing that you're looking at here is the fact that, okay, well, for those that were complaining about Cody Rhodes winning it, you know, I know some people were like, because the question is brought up, okay, well, if not Cody, then, yeah, I agree, Sami Zayn would have been a nice option. For those of you that said Sami Zayn, how about him as a nice little honorable? That would have been some very interesting storytelling to really lay down in 60-something days in order to try to put Sammy in a position where he was going to be his own man and he was going to, you know, really take it to Roman Reigns. That you know, I just feel, you know what? I mentioned this a couple of weeks ago in a conversation that I had with my wife, and I think that story that I told to her is a great analogy for what's going on with Sami Zayn. By the way, I'm aware of the interview that Sami Zayn gave with Ariel Helwani. I have not seen it yet. I've been so busy the past several days, especially with Royal Rumble weekend. Have not seen it yet, but I promise you guys, things are starting to slow down. By the time we get back here on Wednesday, because you know we usually do a Wednesday night show, I will definitely have seen the Sami Zayn interview by then, and I'll be able to talk about it at great length. I at least was able to watch the clip where Ariel asked him about the passing of Jay Briscoe, and seeing just a humbled, really class act of a response that Sami Zayn had for that. And I really, if you have not seen at least that yet, that clip is available as a standalone on YouTube. Check that out when you guys get a free moment. But Sami Zayn, I'm probably going to mention a show here that's going to throw a lot of people, it's going to go over your heads. Unless you're an old school TV fan, TV addict or whatever, then you'll know the show that I'm talking about. But does anybody remember the old Night Court TV series? It's funny I bring that up because there is a reboot that premiered about maybe 2 weeks ago, and they are crushing it right now. They have done fantastic numbers, right down to the point. I think it's already been renewed for another season, if I remember right. But anyway, at one point during the original run of Night Court, John Larroquette, plays the lawyer, prosecutor basically, Dan Felding. He gets an opportunity to do a spinoff, NBC executives, they pitched to him, hey, how about you do a spinoff of the Dan Felding character? And this was at the height of Night Court's success. I mean, it was getting nominated for awards left and right. John Larroquette had won a few Emmys and everything. And he thought about it long and hard. And ultimately, he decided, no, you know what? I'm not going to do it. And the reason why he decided he didn't want to do the spinoff is because he felt that the Dan Felding character was at its most strongest and could be properly utilized when it was part of a supporting cast. When it would basically go in there, kind of lay down the foundation, and then other people basically would feed off of that, and collectively, right, whatever story needed to be told with that broad paintbrush, okay, it was going to be told, right? That's how he felt about it. So when I think, me personally, when I think about the idea of Sami Zayn being a world heavyweight champion in WWE, you know, and the idea of, hey, how about he wins the Royal Rumble? And, you know, trust me, I get where a decent amount of you guys are coming from. It would be a really cool idea. We could be here all night playing matchmaker and all that, but it's not really needed. You don't really need to be a champion in order to, right? Everything that they have done so far with this Bloodline Sammy arc has been some of the absolute best writing that WWE has done in years. In years. You know, I was thinking about it the other day, and I said, God damn, especially let alone the finish to a pay-per-view, probably one of the greatest finishes to a pay-per-view in many years that I can think of. But just the story arc itself between the Bloodline and Sami Uso, Kevin Owens, and all of those participants, man, what, guys, you probably would have to go as far back as potentially when Seth Rollins betrayed the Shield, potentially when Randy Orton was betrayed there by Evolution. But then you could kind of make an argument that in regards to Evolution, he did kind of have a little bit of quite a few hiccups around that time frame. Maybe Dave Bautista, Triple H in it. Maybe you can kind of go as far back to that. Hell, you might be even able to do an honorable mention of when CM Punk had teamed with Paul Heyman there, and they were just having their way. Everything culminated with CM Punk taking on Undertaker at that respective year's WrestleMania. I mean, as far as good, fine-ass storytelling goes, I mean, really, we can all be in agreement. It's been some years. It's been some years since they've really told some great riveting story like what they had did from the Rumble and everything. But back to the original point that I have made, you know, you don't need to have Sami Zayn in a position where he's got to be the world heavyweight champion. He's all of a sudden he has to be the man, and he's got to have the company on his back, and they got to carry it into 3 months, 5 month, a 6 month reign as champion. You don't need to do all of that in order to get to whatever respected story arc it is that you're trying to tell, right? I don't personally feel that's really needed. You guys can sound off with me. I don't feel that's really needed. But yeah, it was kind of interesting just seeing some of the chatter that was coming out of that Royal Rumble, people complaining. You know, it's like I said at the very top, you're never going to be able to please everybody, nor should you try to please everybody. The best thing you can do is just try to go accordingly. At least have your finger on the pulse as far as the general public, you know, what they essentially want and everything. You know, I saw a majority of the people that said, no, you know what, the fact that they didn't have all these legends from yesteryear pop up at the Rumble. I actually welcome that, to see that pretty much mostly all the spots went to people who I've been seeing on my TV every single week. Yo, that's okay. I'm all right with that. Hey, the fact that Rhea Ripley won, yeah, you know what? They got that right. Yeah, she's been fucking kicking ass all year long. Yeah, it should be her. There really isn't anybody else. Yeah, by default, it should be her. For Cody Rhodes, it's, yeah, you know what? The trajectory he was on before he got injured. Why not Cody Rhodes, right? Just imagine if it would have been a situation where, well, no, they're not going to win the Royal Rumble, not Cody Rhodes, is going to be Austin Theory. Can you just imagine the amount of shows, the amount of bloggers, articles that really would have felt very alienated by Austin Theory Royal Rumble win, and would have gone in the direction of, oh man, they're really trying to go to John Cena route here, right? There would have been so many people alienated by this, and it would have been a negative talking point on social media, that, right? So, you know, if you gotta risk having a few heads complain versus the majority of your audience giving praise, then you know what? I think the latter outweighs that small minority group, does it not? Again, it all just goes back to just the finger on the pulse. You know, what's going on with the fan engagements and all that? Who are they really behind all that? It really feels like this was one of those type of cases where, okay, you know what? We hear you. You know, we see who you like. We see who you representing, and you know what? We're gonna reward you for that. We're gonna reward you for investing that time, investing that energy. I like it for all intents and purposes. So, FYI. So, you know, we're talking about how everything had set up that main event match, and how in the opener we had all those participants kicking off the show, and yet at the end, we know we had that main event match between Fin Balor and Cody Rhodes. Cody looking fucking fantastic. I mean, this was one of those matches too, by the way, where they didn't have Cody Rhodes out there for, you know, 7 fucking minutes, right? No, I mean, they actually had Cody Rhodes out there, by my stopwatch at least. Cody was out there for at least 12 minutes, give or take. It kind of felt like at least 12 minutes. And nice match between him and Fin Balor for all it was worth, but you knew you really weren't going to be able to truly sink your teeth into it like that, because you're thinking about all those figureheads that we saw from earlier, who was probably going to be making some type of an appearance in this, and sure enough, you started seeing a little bit of fuckery get involved there. Dominic getting himself involved. Rhea coming in there. Edge coming in there. I love seeing fucking Rhea Ripley attack Edge. All right, beating him down on the back and everything, and then all of a sudden Beth Phoenix just pretty much comes from out of nowhere, and much like she did at the Royal Rumble, connects with another spear on Rhea Ripley, just laying her frickly flat on her back. Great shit right there. Great stuff. And then meanwhile in the ring, you got Fin Balor shooting on the legs of Cody, stomping on him for a little bit, goes into the corner, looking for that shotgun drop kick. Finn going up to the top rope. Looks like he manages to get out of the way of something there, and then pretty much Cody hitting the crossroads. 1, 2, 3. Pretty much it. You know, match was in one gear for, I would say, the first half of the match, but definitely pretty much after they took their last commercial break and they came back, they definitely kicked it up another notch. Great story that they're telling right here, and you know, it kind of makes you wonder, like, if going into Elimination Chamber, if pretty much what they don't gave us tonight is a preview for what's to come at Elimination Chamber, because it's almost as if it's safe to say that Cody Rhodes, Edge, and Beth Phoenix are going to be going up against Dominic Mysterio, Fin Balor. Well, hang on. Fin Balor, Well, actually, Ray might be out right now. I'm thinking probably storyline. But if Ray is able to come back in time for Elimination Chamber, then no, that would change drastically, actually. So just picture this. You could have Damian Priest, Finn Balor, Dominic Mysterio, Rhea Ripley against Edge, Rey Mysterio, Cody Rhodes, Beth Phoenix. That would just be fucking badass. Worst case scenario, if Ray is, depending on the so-called injury, I got to make sure I use those quotation marks. If Ray can't really, you can at least have Ray make some type of a cameo at Elimination Chamber to ensure that Team Edge, Cody pick up the win. But it just kind of feels as though we're definitely heading into that direction at the Chamber pay-per-view, that this is going to be some type of intergender tag match that we're going to be seeing. Hopefully that's what's going to get announced. I'm definitely down for that. Definitely down for that. How about you guys? Would you be down for seeing that match? Let me know. Sound off in the comments. You can definitely get at me online and all that good jazz. By the way, if you guys been enjoying yourselves so far, if you have not done so already, make sure you're hitting that like button, you're representing, and hitting the subscribe, all that good jazz. Really helps us out a great ton. I mentioned it on last week's batch of shows. I'm going to continue to say it again. Make sure that as far as representing and checking out the show on demand and on the downloads for you audio lovers out there, listen and support the show on iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Apple, Spotify, Pandora, or you can even listen on Alexa. Just say to Alexa, hey Alexa, play the newest episode of the RCWR show, and you guys will be good and rocking, ready to go and everything. Let's talk a little bit more about some stuff that had went down on tonight's WWE RAW. Again, I was talking about how a lot of great stride was made towards storyline developments, match announcements, and everything, setting up next week's RAW, paving the way towards the pay-per-views and all that. You know, we did get we were talking about Cody Rhodes earlier, and how he's pretty much Roman Reigns. My eyes are locked and loaded on you, yo. See you at WrestleMania. Well, Rhea Ripley had an announcement to make and everything, which was who was she going to be going after at WrestleMania, as she won her respected Royal Rumble match and all. And she talked about the fact that she came over to the Raw brand a couple of years back. She was this young 23-year-old kid and everything, and talked about how she had an opportunity to face Charlotte Flair. That didn't pan out the way she had thought it would, and she learned her lesson from that. And what she's been observing these past few years has been the fact that somehow Charlotte Flair is always the selling point. She's always somehow in the title picture if she isn't already the champion. Somehow she's always involved in the title picture, and for her, she just feels that monopoly needs to be broken up already. And I actually had took down a couple of notes of some of the things that she had said and everything. So she basically had linked Charlotte Flair to the title picture. Like every single time you turn around, Charlotte's always there, as there being some type of a normal flow structure within the WWE that always results in Charlotte Flair being at the very top. And as far as Rhea Ripley is concerned, she looks at herself as a disruptor, and that she doesn't like that normal formula, that natural flow. So, you know, when you're looking at this here, you know, here is essentially, and I don't know if you guys had really looked at it like this, but here is Rhea Ripley, who essentially has become this anti-hero, if you will. And after the promo that she had cut tonight, she's definitely become a anti-hero, where, you know, you're like, okay, yeah, I do agree. Yeah, Charlotte is always, yeah, I can definitely get behind that, right? So here is this anti-hero that is trying to be a agent of change
if you really stop and think about that, right? She wants to be that agent of change. She wants to stop these endless runs with Charlotte Flair always at the top and everything. So it was a really great, fucking poignant promo that Rhea Ripley had cut tonight. High marks for her. High marks for her. She nailed it out of the park. Even mentioning how she advises the queen to basically bow down because she's going to be rising to Rhea Ripley, basically. So she chooses Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania. That's going to be a kick-ass match. That is going to be a kick-ass match. Looking forward to that. You know, it's funny because I kind of talked about it off and on here on the show, with the last time, I believe, being when we were going over Royal Rumble predictions. And I know I touched upon it a little bit more on the Rumble post show, which is the fact that, make everything come back full circle for Rhea Ripley. You know, let it be her and Charlotte Flair. Let that run back and everything, because there's some history there that you can definitely go back and capitalize on and everything. Although I did go on record and say, me personally, I would still love to see Rhea Ripley and Bianca Belair, because they have teased it. They teased it a couple of times in 2022, with the two of them passing each other and all that. And, that definitely would be a classic matchup and everything. But to essentially go this anti-hero route with Rhea Ripley, I definitely welcome it. It gives the SmackDown side of the WrestleMania card, it puts a smile on your face, because we know in regards to SmackDown, it just kind of feels like, right? So this kind of gets people something to be excited about. Meanwhile, you got the continuing development that's going on with Bianca Belair. Well, what does this mean for Bianca Belair? How are we going to know, or what's going on with her at WrestleMania? What's the plans for her right now? Well, they addressed that tonight. So this was a great episode. Any concerns, any questions that we had about certain championships, they addressed it all tonight. And this was a very effective, one of the most effective episodes I've seen coming out of a Royal Rumble and building the foundations on the road to WrestleMania. High fucking marks to WWE. Anybody else that's not giving praise on how this was all executed this week, look at them cockeyed, and you may want to dodge them for a couple of weeks, or maybe stop listening to them altogether and everything. So what's going on with Bianca Belair? Well, next week on Monday Night Raw, there is going to be a elimination chamber match qualifier. Make sure I say qualifier for the women. It's going to be Raquel Rodriguez. Oh, actually, correction. These are your 4 women that's already involved in the elimination chamber match coming up in 2 weeks. Raquel Rodriguez, Liv Morgan, Nikki Cross, and Asuka. These women were pretty much decided because they were essentially representing Raw. They pretty much were the last handful that was almost close to the end, essentially. So that's why these names are already locked in on the Women's Elimination Chamber. Meanwhile, next week on Monday Night Raw, we're going to see the matches were not announced. They just told you who the participants were going to be. But with those names I just mentioned for the chamber, there is essentially only one spot left for the women's chamber match. So your participants for next week: Mia Yim, Piper Niven, Carmella, Candice LeRae. You heard me right, Carmella. Carmella makes her return. Well, it was going to be next week, but we actually got to see her tonight. She was in a backstage segment brown hair and all, looking as cute as always. I can't remember the circumstances for her being backstage. I wish I could remember exactly. Maybe some of you guys that saw the segment can kind of jog my memory, but there was something involving her. I can't really think what it was now, but Mia Yim, Piper Niven, Carmella, Candice LeRae, they're going to be involved in a fatal four-way match. Winner of that will advance to the final slot in that women's elimination chamber match, and whoever wins that elimination chamber will go on to face Bianca Belair for the Raw Women's Championship. Interesting note for those of you that were a little bit curious about Chelsea Green. Yeah, officially, she's part of the WWE roster. As Adam Pearce was making the announcement for everything that was supposed to be happening with that Women's Chamber match, participants, and what's happening with that Fatal 4-Way for next week. We saw Chelsea Green pop up, and she basically, hey, are you the person in charge here? Or are you the manager? When you first hear that, you're going, oh man, that sounds like a Karen moment, man. We're going Karen moment here, or we're going Starbucks moment. What's going on here, man? And she pretty much didn't like the fact that she did not have her own locker room. There was some type of specific candy that she was looking for, some type of chocolate, not no Ferrero Rocher. For you guys that want to give me some candy this holiday season, I love me some Ferrero Rocher, man. I will tear them bitches up. Adam Pearce wanting to quickly tend to Chelsea Green's needs there. Chelsea Green talked about all that. I'm a little bit surprised Chelsea Green didn't go in the direction of, where's my invitation? Where's my invite to be part of this whole match, to go to the elimination, right? Where's that whole... I like what's going on here with Chelsea Green. She's coming in there as high maintenance. Her shit don't stink, right? Okay, let's continue to see how this ultimately plays out. Now, look, just jumping ahead a little bit, I know we're a few weeks away from Elimination Chamber, but as far as who I think is going to be winning Elimination Chamber and go on to face Rhea Ripley, this is interesting, I gotta say. This is very interesting. For those of you curious about Nia Jax, we got no mention of Nia Jax whatsoever. As far as I can recall, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, because I was moving around in the house a lot tonight during the first and second hour. If they did show some type of a Nia Jax vignette, I missed it. If they even said something along the lines of Nia Jax is back next week, I missed it. But as far as I know tonight, I didn't see anything mentioning Nia Jax. So I can't help but wonder if all of these names for the women's Fatal 4-Way, I can't help but wonder if all the names are official, or maybe somebody is going to get injured and someone's going to slide in there, and that person that does slide in there is Nia Jax, because I'm just saying what I personally would like to see happen. Since Nia Jax is back and she's ready to go and all that other shit, let's pull a Andre the Giant, Hulk Hogan, if you will, and let's have Nia Jax and Bianca Belair go at it. I think that would be a very interesting story arc, great feud that you could build up, the trash talking alone. I think that would be very, very kick-ass. If I can't get Nia Jax in there, and I got to deal with what I got right now, process of elimination, I'm taking out Nikki Cross. I am taking out Liv Morgan. You know what? For me, it is down to, and who were the other girls that were? Mia Yim, no. Piper Niven, maybe. Maybe Piper Niven and Bianca Belair at WrestleMania. Maybe. That is a wild card. That is a huge wild card. But the names I'm homing in on right now, Raquel, Asuka, Piper. If Nia Jax is nowhere in there. So out of those names, whew. I don't think it's going to be Asuka. I got to be honest with you guys. I don't think it's going to be Asuka. I feel like maybe is Raquel too goody two shoes, or could Raquel go the heel route? And that would be kind of interesting between those two. I would go, if there's no Nia Jax, I would definitely go with Raquel. Piper Niven is a strong wild card, though, for sure. She's a strong wild card. The U.S. Championship, we even got an update on that one. MVP hosting a VIP lounge with Austin Theory. Two of them exchanging words and everything. Theory thinks that the show should get a facelift, calling it the ATL Austin Theory Live. MVP giving his vote of confidence, feeling as though, that actually has a nice ring to it. We should talk about that. We should work on that. But for now, right? And MVP giving Theory his props and all of that. Theory essentially giving MVP his props. Say, hey man, when I was a kid, I used to love the MVP lounge and everything. It was tight. That's what made him say, we should call it the ATL and everything. But on the road to WrestleMania, basically, MVP kind of noticing that, for all the game that Austin Theory seems to be putting out there, he knows there's a part of him that has some fear, going into WrestleMania and everything, because all these targets, right, especially Bobby Lashley and everything, and Theory didn't really think too kindly of that name being brought up, taking some cheap shots at Bobby Lashley. MVP, hey, letting it be known, hey man, Lashley doesn't need me fighting his battles, talking on his behalf and all of that. Sure enough, Lashley coming out there because he heard just about enough of what he was hearing there from Theory. MVP tried to step in between the two, trying to make sure that no carnage had broke out. And Theory says to Lashley, listen to daddy. MVP at that point just say, okay, you want him, go ahead. He literally stepped out of the way. Lashley, Theory going at it there. It's pretty good, intense segment for what it was worth. So obviously we got that going on, essentially on the road to WrestleMania. But let's not also forget, because you're looking at that, and I mean, it's definitely a done deal. We're going to see Brock Lesnar and Lashley lock it up at WrestleMania. And maybe for tonight, Lashley might have been able to get his hands on Austin Theory, and may heaven forbid a situation goes down where the two of them once again are going to be locking up in some type of a match. Brock Lesnar is going to be right around the corner, and there is going to be some serious shenanigans going down where our boy Lashley is going to be screwed yet again, just to really intensify this eventual WrestleMania matchup that's going to go down between these two. I mean, that's pretty much a no-brainer and everything. But again, getting back to, okay, so, we know about Mania, but, on the road to Mania, so we get another announcement that apparently for the United States Championship, there is going to be a qualifier match here where we're going to see, and I wrote the participants' names down here. There's going to be a U.S. title match qualifier. Montez Ford will face Elias. Meanwhile, Angelo Dawkins will face Damian Priest. Now, if I understand this correctly, whoever the final two are that, pretty much win these respective matches, I'm assuming they're going to go one-on-one, and then they'll get a match with Austin Theory at Elimination Chamber for the U.S. title. I'm just going back and I'm just trying to make sure, because I did jot down some additional notes. I'm just trying to see if maybe during that VIP lounge, if anything was mentioned about Lashley maybe getting, nothing about Lashley in the U.S. title picture here. So this is pretty much how everything looks to be mapping itself out for Theory and his quest to hopefully be able to make it to WrestleMania still as champion and all that. So some interesting potential roadblocks on the way to Mania. I'm loving this. I told you guys when I said at the top, some interesting development going on here. Even for Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins had, as we had not one, not two, but three Elimination Chamber qualifier matches. Seth Rollins getting a victory on Chad Gable. Look, it wasn't a slobber knocker. It wasn't a 5-star matchup. It was a damn short match. But for the little amount of time that these two were going at it, it was becoming an instant classic. I got to say, these guys were really bringing it. And it was funny because you could tell they weren't trying to really go all balls out. But at the same time, you could tell they were trying to make it be as entertaining as possible. So this was a very short match, but Seth Rollins going over. Post-match, Kathy Kelly had caught up with him and, was asking, congratulating him on the victory, but then asking the question about, hey, how do you feel after what had went down at the Royal Rumble? You butting heads with Logan Paul and everything, and y'all know, right? Y'all know as far as eliminations, right? So Seth Rollins, very silent. Right down to the point, speechless. Nothing to say as he walks away abruptly from the interview. So obviously where we're going with this, it's going to be Logan Paul versus Seth Rollins. I'm down with that. I am fucking down with that. That should be... Oh, man. That's going to be insane. That is going to be insane of a match. That's going to be an instant classic. I'm looking forward to that. So just those seeds that they planted right there, that's good. So I can't wait to see how they're going to continue to pile on to this, right? I would imagine that for the next 2 to 3 weeks, we're going to see Kathy Kelly. We're going to see Byron Saxton. They're going to have these moments with Seth Rollins. Hey, couldn't help but notice, last week you were a little bit silent there when, you've had a week now to kind of, do you care to elaborate a little bit more, right? You got to somehow continue to, and I would imagine that Logan Paul is definitely going to be stirring some stuff on social media, on his respected podcast, just to really get that ball rolling even more, right? That's what's going to be going down, but I'm looking into the crystal ball here, and I would say give it about 3 weeks until Logan Paul returns to the WWE. Then, we should see something go down as far as maybe Seth Rollins getting on the microphone, interrupting a Logan Paul segment on Raw, or better yet, taking, a cheap shot attack at Logan Paul, to pretty much make that program official and all that. But that's definitely coming down the pipeline for all intents and purposes. It's definitely coming. Meanwhile, Baron Corbin losing to Johnny Gargano. I give two shits not. Look, Johnny Gargano advancing, that's great. Whoopee. Dolph Ziggler pretty much in a squash match against Bronson Reed. What's going on with Bronson Reed? I gotta ask you guys, because it's so weird. I remember seeing Bronson Reed. What was his name in Impact Wrestling? Was it Jonah or something? I remember seeing a little bit of him in Impact Wrestling, and I went, I saw some of the stuff that he was doing in New Japan, and I said, oh, okay, well, good for him. And it just feels like right now the Bronson Reed return to WWE experiment, it just feels like it's been a bust. This is just, it's coming up so flat, and look, I'm all for the big guys and everything, but You know, just because somebody is big doesn't mean that you've got to, you know, I just feel that this dude is lacking in something. And for me, I mean, he's got the look. You know, he definitely has the look. But man, once he starts talking, you know, you don't know whether to be scared of him or whether to give him a hug because he comes off cuddly, right? And when you have that problem, that's not fucking good. That's not fucking good by any stretch. I just feel that of all the people that Triple H has brought back, this is definitely one of those where it's, yeah, okay, I get it, but yeah, dog, it ain't happening. It just ain't happening. Forget about it, man. You just can't help but wonder if this is going to be one of truly the first casualties of a Triple H re-signing. And it sure as hell is kind of coming off that way. I mean, y'all could say to me all you want, yo, it's still early, but we've got enough. We've got enough footage of Bronson Reed now this go round in the WWE, and it's just, this guy is feeling more and more like mid-card. Maybe even a tier below that, if that's even possible. Seriously, it sucks. Fucking sucks, man. But those were your Elimination Chamber qualifier matches there. And actually, you know what? So your people that's advanced right now, just to kind of give you guys a recap here for the men's Elimination Chamber. So right now we've got oh wow, really? Wow, are you serious? Are you serious? So apparently that match for the United States Championship, I was not aware of this. Somehow I missed this. You know, it was kind of weird tonight too, because I could have sworn at a couple of different parts it was very unclear what exactly was being said here and everything, right? So apparently Seth Rollins is in that match for the U.S. title. He's going to be involved in the Elimination Chamber match for the U.S. title. So right now it's Austin Theory defending against Seth Rollins, Johnny Gargano, Bronson Reed, and apparently 2 other wrestlers. That's what's going to be going down. So yeah. Threw my ass off there. I'm glad we tightened that up before we're getting ready to go off the air there. So again, these matches that I was talking about earlier for the men, these were U.S. Elimination Chamber qualifier matches. So we got 2 spots left. And remember from what I had said earlier, next week on Monday Night Raw, we're going to be seeing Montez Ford taking on Elias. Meanwhile, Angelo Dawkins will face Damian Priest. And so we'll figure out what's going to go down officially from there. You know, what's going to make the full card for that men's U.S. Championship match. Meanwhile, also next week on Monday Night Raw, Bayley will face Becky Lynch, steel cage match. We're getting that match after all. Kudos to Triple H and crew for making it right and giving us fans that match that we were so hyped, so looking forward to on Raw 30 from a week ago now. Great segment as we had Bayley and Becky Lynch trading off bars. Great segment of the night. I mean, some hot fucking fire was being spit. Intense. This was intense. I actually had jotted down some of the things that these girls had said here, man, because this was spicy. So Bayley began talking about how everything felt so good and how she had a lot of confidence going into the Rumble. letting the folks know in attendance. Y'all saw what happened that checked out the event. Damage Control was on that roll. We were getting eliminations after eliminations after eliminations, and then Becky Lynch just came out and stuck her nose in our business, and that wasn't cool. But what was cool was being able to eliminate Becky. Hey, the story's finally over. It's all over. Becky Lynch begged to differ. She came out there and said, nah, we're not done until I say we're done. And that what Bayley has forgotten is that Becky Lynch has already won the Rumble, so she doesn't need to win it this year. She just needed to make sure that Damage Control didn't win it, and that's what she did, as she did whatever was necessary to ensure that Damage Control didn't get the job done. And she notes that it seemed as though Bayley is trying to do everything humanly possible to avoid a one-on-one matchup. And Bayley goes, yo, homegirl, I'm smart. I mean, come on, man. Go read a book. Like, seriously. And that Bayley knows Becky. And that she doesn't like Rebecca. Never has. Yeah, called her Rebecca. Thinks she's overrated. Isn't good enough to be involved in the industry, isn't good enough to be champion, isn't good enough to be in the ring one-on-one against Bayley. Hell, not even good enough for her husband, Seth Rollins. Yeah, she actually went there. And the way that Bayley had delivered that freaking line, I just couldn't help but go, okay, so are we really trying to potentially paint a picture here that Seth Rollins is essentially unfaithful? Because Bayley did a fantastic job in delivering and putting great emphasis on certain parts of her promo, and that part alone, when she began talking about Seth Rollins, you're kind of going, God damn, are we shooting here? What's really going on here? Seth a home wrecker? What? Seth ain't a player. He just likes to crush a lot. What is Bayley trying to tell us here? Because of course you're reminded of some stuff that had happened with Rollins years ago and all that, but just to plant that little bit of a dig, and then to immediately follow it up. As Bayley says to Becky, come on, we know the real reason why he married you. It's because he knocked you up. And you're just like, oh man, so are we still trying to say he's a player? Like what? Woo! I mean, it was spicy. It was fucking spicy. At this point, you go below the belt like that, you're expecting for there to be a serious ass whooping. Becky comes right back. Okay, so we're going here. Okay. And all this time, I thought that, this was just all about us. This was all about a friendship that once was. Talked about how everything started with them 10 years ago in Orlando at NXT, and that it's only fitting that all of this wraps up next week as Raw will be in Orlando. And she wants for everything to end there once and for all between the two of them. Steel cage match. What's up? Bayley says no. Becky says, okay, I kind of figured you'd say that. I'll be right back. Bayley's kind of wondering what's going on there. All right, making jokes. Becky comes out dragging pretty much a lifeless Dakota Kai as she's got her leg trapped in a chair, and Becky is getting ready to do a serious number on Kai when Bayley says, all right, you'll get your fucking match. Just let her be. You'll get your match. Good shit right there. Good shit right there. I love that. So we're going to get that match after all. I really wish we would have been able to get that match last week for Raw 30. If we would have been able to get it. I know that as far as how, we heard the Bella Twins. We heard what they had to say. We heard from other people. I definitely went on record. A lot of you guys went on record. We all could be in agreement that it's wet fart what had went down on Raw 30. But this is definitely going to be very redeeming. And I'm going to make a bold prediction right now. I'm going to say that this, and it should close out Monday Night Raw. It should, because you know it takes them a minute to get the steel cage up and all that, right? So I'd be shocked to see Raw open up with this match. Makes more sense to just go on ahead, let it close out with this match, and it should definitely deliver for all intents and purposes. Maximum Male Models were backstage, and they had been peeping out Otis, as apparently Maxine Dupree feels he would be a perfect fit for them. I got to continue to see how this is going to play out. This just screams Vince McMahon. I hope I'm wrong. Oh, my God. What have you done to my boys, my beautiful boys? I'm talking about Mason Mansoor. I just... That much I do recall from watching SmackDown, even though I haven't tuned in about 2 months, give or take. I do remember seeing Maximum Male Models running around there. My God. I believe we covered everything in regards to Monday Night Raw. I'm just going back. I remember most of the stuff from memory, but I'm just looking at my notes here one more time just to make sure I didn't miss anything. And we covered everything. We covered everything that had transpired on tonight's show, which honestly was, again, a very well-rounded episode. Did it feel like a cool off period within reason? Within reason, yes, but there was still enough excitement and buzz because you're coming fresh out of your Royal Rumble and everything. This was definitely a great change of pace as far as setting up not just next week's programming of Raw, announcing some key matches, but then also helping flush out your next pay-per-view even more, while also trying to get in order the materialization there of some key Wrestlemania matches with Rhea Ripley going after Charlotte Flair, Cody Rhodes going after Roman Reigns, trying to figure out what's going to happen with Bianca Belair and who she'll be facing at WrestleMania. Who will Austin Theory be facing at Elimination Chamber? Because if Austin Theory wants to have a WrestleMania moment, he's got to get out of the Elimination Chamber first. So a lot of interesting stuff going on here, while also at the same time setting up what's for sure going to be a bona fide episode of SmackDown this week, as we're going to hear from the Bloodline for the very first time since all the stuff that had went down at the Rumble. So that's going to be pure fucking fire. Notice no Kevin Owens on the show tonight. That's great. That's a smart move. Going to be badass to see if Kevin shows up, if Sammy shows up as well. So good stuff. Good stuff that they laid out this week for future programming, I gotta say. So strong episode. Let's see what you guys had to say for this week's Monday Night Raw. Go vote right now if you haven't voted already. Twitter at the RCWR Show or YouTube. Click on the Communities tab and vote that way. Let's see what you guys are saying here. All right. So right now I am seeing that there is 33% of you guys that are staying in the middle for the show, and 67% of you guys are giving it a thumbs up. Appreciate you guys that have voted. Now let's see what's going on with you guys that voted via YouTube. If I'm coming off a little bit distracted, I just got an email because I'm looking for some more textbooks. I've been looking for some textbooks for some of my classes in the mail. And I just got an email notification letting me know that one of the joints I was looking for is finally en route to me. So that's good. That's good. All right, let's see what you guys are saying on YouTube here. 25% of you are staying in the middle. Meanwhile, 75% of you are giving it a thumbs up. So still some early voting that's coming in. I don't know if a lot of you guys had experienced a little bit of jet lag from Royal Rumble. Actually, that was a Saturday, wasn't it? Yeah, that was a Saturday. I don't know. Maybe you guys are experiencing a little bit of jet lag from the late night game or what have you. But usually, once the shows are put out for on demand and on the downloads, you guys start to represent a little bit more and sounding off. But this is just the first time in a good minute that I've seen the votes this low for both respected mediums. So go vote. Don't vote on both, just pick one and vote that way. Meanwhile, some other stuff we can get into as we get ready to wind it down for the night. I do see the latest card for AEW Dark Elevation. Check this out. Ring of Honor World Championship match as Claudio Castagnoli defends against Blake Christian. Meanwhile, Athena and Diamante are in tag team action against Sky Blue and Yuka Suzuki. Top Flight take on Ari Daivari and Tony Nese. Rouge goes one-on-one with Brian Pillman Jr. Malachi Black and Brody King go up against Turbo Floyd and Truth Magnum, while the Workhorsemen take on the Dark Order. That is this week's AEW Dark Elevation for this week. Also, looks like Stone Cold Steve Austin is going to be doing a new series for A&E. It's called Stone Cold Takes on America. I don't know exactly what the hell that's going to involve. I was a big fan of the last Stone Cold show. What the hell was the name of that show? Kicking It with Stone Cold, Kicking It with Steve Austin. I can't remember the name of it. He was basically doing all kinds of really cool, fun activities with different celebrity guests and all that. I thought that was actually a really cool show. But apparently this new series by Steve Austin is not supposed to be premiering until April. It's basically going to be premiering, I believe, the weekend of his Rivals episode with Shawn Michaels. I actually have the list of what's going on here with looks like series will reportedly begin airing after the new seasons of Biography WWE Legends end, right? So here's what's going on. February 19th, and all of what I'm getting ready to read to you is Rival episodes, right? So February 19th, you got NWO, Hulk Hogan versus NWL, that's your Legends episode, and then after that, it's going to be a Rivals episode on Hulk Hogan versus Andre the Giant. February 26th is your next Legends episode. Meanwhile, you'll have a Rivals episode on Undertaker versus Mankind. China is your next Legends episode. Meanwhile, Rock versus John Cena is your Rivals episode. You'll have a Legends episode on Kane. Meanwhile, a Rivals episode covering Triple H and Batista. A Legends episode on Iron Sheik. A Rivals episode on Lita versus Trish Stratus. Then a Dusty Rhodes Legends episode, while you get a Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar Rivals episode. And then April 9th, Steve Austin versus Bret Hart Rivals. And then April 16th, Steve Austin versus Shawn Michaels Rivals. So, and then as far as a new run of WWE's Most Wanted Treasures, that will begin on April 23rd. Looks like they're going to be doing an episode focused around Steve Austin. And then there's going to be a April 30th episode covering the Generation X. Other subjects apparently is going to include Randy Savage, Bret Hart, Roddy Piper, the Samoan Dynasty, Goldberg, and Kurt Angle. So some pretty good stuff that's going to be coming up for the next several weeks, the next 10 weeks, give or take. If you're asking me straight up which ones will I be interested in checking out, the Jake Roberts Legends episode sounds pretty good, which is on February 26th. So I'll definitely be checking that out. March 12th, the Rivals episode on Triple H and Batista. Maybe I'll see some new stuff that I didn't quite know about. The Legends episode on Dusty. That should be good. I'll definitely check that one out. Steve Austin versus Bret Hart Rivals episode on April 9th piques my curiosity, but only if I'm going to, hopefully, you know, we'll learn some new stuff. Maybe they'll talk to some new people and all that, interview new people. Otherwise, if it's just going to be the same old regurgitated, then it's kind of like, you know, so we'll see. We'll see on that one. We'll see on that one. Let's see. Also, Triple H, he sounded off about The Rock apparently not being able to appear at WrestleMania. He had participated in his usual post-pay-per-view conference, you know, this go around after the Royal Rumble and everything, and got a transcript for this one. I think we can give credit to the good guys at Fightful for the transcript, where Triple H was quoted as saying, apparently, he can't get in shape in time. That's what you all tell me. He looked pretty jacked, I thought. I saw Black Adam the other day, and I didn't think it was the uniform. He's incredibly busy. I can say this, as a guy that we grew up as two young kids fighting each other for the spot and having battles over it in the best way, pushing each other. We all were in that time. I know for him, I was at a large Emmy event a few years ago, and there was a poster of him. I think he was about to drop the people's elbow on me. He was standing over me in this photo, and it's hyper-focused, incredibly detailed. Correction, it's a hyper-focused, incredibly detailed picture. As I'm looking at the picture, I realized he had goosebumps all over him, standing over me. I took a picture of it and sent it to him. I said, "You don't get this in Hollywood, do you? It's a rush, but after the 12th time you've done that take, probably not as exciting as the first couple. There is nothing like this, nothing. I know for him, and I know for his family and background, there is a part of him that if he could be here for this, and for this WrestleMania in Hollywood, he would turn over every stone and walk through fire to be able to do it if he could." Triple H would go on to say, "I don't think it's in the cards. Then again, I don't know. We always have conversations with him because he loves it so much, and we'd love for him to be a part of it. He's the biggest star in Hollywood and maybe the most recognizable person on the planet. Why wouldn't we want him to be a part of it? This is his home. It's an open invitation. We don't lock the door. He has an open invitation to walk through it anytime he wants, but he's incredibly busy. I think that respect factors both ways. He wouldn't want to do it unless he could absolutely do it. There is no way he would show up and half-ass it. There is no way he would show up here and not come in and want to put every single thing he had into it to make it the best it could possibly be. Unless he could do that, it won't happen. He knows the door is open, and when he has the time and availability to do it, he can come in and electrify everybody." You know, I'm almost reminded of the WrestleMania where The Rock had teamed with Mick Foley, and they took on, who was it? Was it Randy Orton and Batista, or was it Randy Orton and Ric Flair? My mind is so fuzzy right now. But that WrestleMania always struck me because I remember how long Rock was gone. And then, you know, here he is, he's doing this match. And, you know, he physically, for me, as far as in-ring action goes, he didn't quite come off as the Rock of old. I couldn't help but look at that match. That match always bothered me, and I always wondered if he did that match at such a short notice, and at that point in his career, he really didn't have the time to do the in-ring training, because the Triple H point, the man does look jacked and everything. And I remember seeing some of you guys' comments in the chat over the past 2 weeks when you all were reacting to this potential news about Rock not being able to show up and everything. It rubbed a decent amount of you guys the wrong way, and to the point I know some of you guys felt a little bit hurt by that. Shout out to Cousins in the chat, by the way. It was Rock and Sock versus Evolution. Yeah, 2 versus 3. Yes, thank you. And I remember looking at that particular match though, and just wondering, he seems kind of off. Just go back and watch that match. You'll see exactly what I'm talking about. It's not the physical. Don't let the physical aspect of The Rock at that point throw you off. Just look at what's going on with him in the ring. He just kind of felt like, I don't know, something feels kind of, can't quite put my finger on it, compared to all the other times that we've seen him where he does look more crisp, more fluid, more, that's The Rock that I fucking remember. Hell yeah, that's the dude. I've said it for years. As somebody that has helped people train and, being wrestlers, doing training myself many, many moons ago, there's a big difference between, being jacked, right, being in shape, and then being in ring shape ready. There's a big difference. And if The Rock is saying, physically, I got the look down, but I need more than like 60 days to fucking get ready for WrestleMania. I mean, because you're basically saying 2 months and a half, right? You can't get mad at The Rock for saying that, because go back, look at the Bill Goldberg special. Okay? If you never watched the Bill Goldberg special, go check that out when you guys get a chance. And to see all the stuff that Bill Goldberg had to go through in the time span that he had to get ready to do whatever matches were called upon him to do. Now, I'm not saying The Rock's got it as bad as Bill Goldberg, but that high expectation, that high level of expectation, that high level of, hey man, okay, if I'm going to be doing this, if I'm going to commit to this and I'm going to be doing this, then you know what, I need this amount of time to get ready. And I'm almost reminded of Lisa Marie Presley. We know she had passed a couple of weeks ago, and yes, you've got a tabloid report that's being put out there, take it with a grain of salt, but you've got that report that's now in circulation saying that leading up to Lisa Marie Presley's death, everybody remembers how ghostly, how gaunt she looked when she had appeared at the awards ceremony and everything. Supposedly, she had lost damn near 60 pounds in the 2 months leading up to that awards ceremony because she wanted to try to look her best. And when you hear that, you go, wait a minute, no, there's something wrong there. Somebody, wait, almost 60 pounds in 2 months? No. That's, what are you doing? Unless you're doing drugs, right? I bring that up to bring it back to The Rock and all those other people. These people at the end of the day, they got all these appearances that they got to make, right? All these media obligations. And in the case of The Rock, trying to do something from an in-ring physical standpoint, it's very easy for The Rock to at least make an appearance, be a host. But if you want the guy to actually go in there and do a match for about 10, 15 minutes, that means that he's going to have to put at least 3 months, possibly 4 months to get ready for that, to be able to at such short notice, 2 months. That's asking a lot, especially the older you get and everything. And then here's the other thing. This would be the best advice that I would give people going forward when you start hearing about The Rock and, oh, it's possible that he might be coming back. Oh, it's possible he might be doing this. You know, remember the XFL. That's getting ready to start back up in like a matter of weeks, I think. As a matter of fact, if you guys can bear with me, I'm on their official home site right now, and let's see when this is officially supposed to start here. I'm on their site right now. I'm not seeing anything as far as a start date. Hang on here. I'll be able to tell you in a quick second. I'm checking out something else here. Yeah. Current plans is for the XFL to return in 2023, February 2023. So you've got that going on. And then the other thing that I want you guys to remember, anything going forward when it comes to Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson news, the first thing that I want you to do is go to his IMDb page. Always do that. Always fucking do that, because that'll give you a really good idea about what is going on with his upcoming schedule. And right now, very first thing that you'll see as an actor is he's got 8 different projects that's going on right now. There's something called The King, which is in development. San Andreas 2, which is in development. Big Trouble in Little China is in production. Jungle Cruise 2 is in development. Untitled Red Notice sequel in production. Doc Savage in development. Red 1 is in production. So just home in on the ones I just mentioned. So right now, he's got 3 projects that are in production. So you all obviously know what it means when it's post-production, right? When it's in post-production, that means that the movie is done. They've pretty much done all the necessary filming that they've needed to do, all the, preliminary, everything's done. Now they're just in post-production, adding the musical score, cleaning up any scenes with whatever, Adobe Effects, whatever. They're just cleaning it up, getting it nice and ready. Okay, that's it. When you've got something, now you will have something that is in pre-production. Pre-production, they're pretty much getting the filming locations ready to go. Maybe they're still working on some casting choices or whatever. Production typically means, this is currently filming. Production is underway as we speak. So if he's working on 3 films right now that's in production, I mean, look, stranger things have happened. Maybe, just maybe he might be. But if you got Triple H saying this, you can stick a fork in it. DONE. Ain't going to be no Rock at WrestleMania this year. You can pretty much... It sucks. Trust me. I get it. I would love it. I would love it. Because they're going to be in Hollywood, The Rock, most electrifying man in all of sports and entertainment. I mean, it just goes fucking hand in hand. It just goes hand in hand. But it's just not going to happen. Now, could we maybe get some type of an appearance from The Rock? Maybe something that would essentially set up something. I don't even see that happening. Which really fucking sucks. I know, but that's where my head is at right now. But yeah, utilize sites like IMDb, because that will really give you a good idea, especially because a lot of times you'll actually be able to see the information as far as where they're filming and all that. Now, I don't know if you'll be able to see that under a regular IMDb, like just by visiting a site, or if you need to be a IMDb Pro member. I can't remember how it went because I haven't subscribed probably in the past couple of months, but you would be able to see, where they're shooting as far as the location, especially if it's happening simultaneously. You would be able to see where all they're filming and shit. So FYI for you guys, See, other than that, some other little triplets of wrestling news. I'm just seeing if there's anything else that we can dive into before we get ready to call it for the night. No, that's actually it. That's all the news I wanted to go over for now. I know Wednesday we've got AEW Dynamite. By the way, if you guys had missed it, I did cover this past Friday's Rampage for 401mania.com. So feel free to check that out. As a matter of fact, going back to The Rock one more time, I don't know why, but The Rock apparently was explaining where he was Saturday night. I guess people were expecting him to be at the Rumble. He said, worked all night Saturday, hopped on the bird at 4 a.m., and the Eagle just landed to Chile, and blessed Sunday morning. I think I'll sleep next month. Gonna hit the gym and get my mental inventory together. Then I'm all yours, Texas. Let's get to work. And he made sure specifically he said at XFL Texas. So this goes back to what I was saying earlier about, hey, he's got the XFL to get ready for, and then, right? So always, you definitely want to utilize a site like IMDb, though. That'll definitely tell you what's going on. Dynamite. Let me see the card for Dynamite, because I believe more matches were announced from the time that I was covering Rampage on Friday. So here's the card for this Wednesday's Dynamite. We get the TBS Championship match, Jade Cargill taking on Red Velvet. Jade Cargill looking for number 50, win number 50. TNT Championship match. It's a no-holds-barred match between Darby Allin and Samoa Joe. Brian Cage taking on Takesha. Heyman Page, Jon Moxley, Part 3. Bryan Danielson, meanwhile, takes on Timothy Thatcher. That should be a classic. And the Acclaimed are going to be in action. That's the whole card for this Wednesday's AEW Dynamite. By the way, speaking of all things wrestling and everything, it's kind of early right now, but I just kind of wanted to go ahead and share with you all the news. But apparently, I heard back from, I'm friends with a couple of people connected to AwesomeCon. And they gave me a heads up a few hours before it actually went live. But they were like, hey, you might want to get ready because, if you want to submit for a panel, here's the time that it's officially going to open and all this other stuff. And it was like, okay, cool. So as some of you guys know, the past 2 years now, we've done a AwesomeCon panel covering the state of pro wrestling and pulp culture. And I'm happy to say that we're definitely going to do our best to have another panel at this year's AwesomeCon, assuming that they'll have us back. I know either way, whether it's as part of a panel or we're covering AwesomeCon as part of the press, because, God, that would probably be appearance number, I'm trying to think. I think that would be our 7th or 8th consecutive AwesomeCon event that we would cover as part of the media. So I'll have the numbers. It's either 7 or 8. I'll be able to tell you a concrete number as we come back on Wednesday. But yeah, so I'm already trying to figure out, okay, what are we going to be talking about? It's early, but I mean, June is like, and apparently this year's AwesomeCon is going to be going down June the 16th through the 18th at the Washington Convention Center in Washington, D.C. So you might want to go on ahead and lock those dates down. Once I get official info as far as, okay, your panel's being picked up this is the day, this is the time. As we get closer, I'll have all of that information for you guys. But I'm looking forward to it. I always have a fucking joy covering AwesomeCon, going back out there to DC, my old stomping grounds, trying out different foods and meeting all kinds of really cool people. Last year was no exception. Lot of great fucking times hanging out down there. So as far as special guest goes, I'm keeping that close to the chest right now. But as we get a lot closer, I'll definitely reveal some names. I would be up for some suggestions if you all are interested, especially for those of you that maybe are not going to be able to be there, because I know some of you guys are hearing this and you're like, well, man, I live here and there's just no way I'd be able to travel. Well, like we did with last year's panel, I actually streamed the panel live for those that weren't going to be able to make it, those that couldn't attend. So we streamed it the day of. It was in real time. When we actually started the panel, it didn't matter where you were, as long as you were connected to social media, you were able to check it out live. So we're going to do that same thing again for you guys this coming AwesomeCon and all that. So I'm pretty excited. I'll keep you posted. On that one. Let's call it. We're at an hour 46 right now. I want you guys to be kind, rewind, check out previous episodes you might have missed on demand and on the downloads wherever you get your podcast. Remember, represent, check out the show, support the show on Spotify. I know you can leave ratings on Spotify now, so please do that. Ratings and review on Apple. Do the Stitcher, Pandora, iHeartRadio, TuneIn Radio, Alexa. I'm really coming around to Alexa. It's nice being able to say to Alexa, hey, play the latest episode of the RCWR show. I love that. But I want to see all of those respective platforms' numbers go up. I was seeing something about VLC, Media Player. I had researched that more over the weekend, and that's... y'all that's listening via VLC Media, stop that. Switch to the other joints, please. The ones I just mentioned. That's the best way you could definitely represent. That is going to do it. I'm not going to mix down the audio version right now. I will have this mixed and all that Tuesday night for you guys after I get in from work. Meantime, enjoy the webcast version. All right. And yeah, just circle back. Once you know that the audio version is available, you see it on your social media feeds and all that, and you want to show it some love, give it a like or whatever, retweet, feel free to go ahead and do that. For those of you that have represented, checked out the show live, made it up to this point, thank you kindly as always. To those of you that's going to be checking this out on demand, much love as always. I will catch you guys Wednesday night, February 1st. 2023 for episode number 1000 of the RCWR show. Yeah, episode number 1000. You just checked out. Actually, no. Hang on a second. Would it be episode number 1000? Before we go, let me just double check. Because I know we're extremely close. Hang on. I can tell you right now because I'm literally looking at the episode number. Okay, we did a Royal Rumble post show. Yeah. What you guys just checked out right now is episode 999. Wednesday will be episode 1000. God damn. Take that for apples. Episode number 1000. Yes, I'll see you guys for that. It's going to be good. Until next go around, wishing all y'all to be safe and most importantly, be kind to one another. I'll see you guys next go around. Take care, y'all. Peace.